Thank you.
I have yet to buy a hat. Hello, 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 and welcome to today's episode of Her Version, a podcast dedicated to hearing stories of struggle to triumph, a platform that allows individuals to tell their truth in order to inspire and uplift others. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria, and if you are new to this podcast, make sure to follow, like, subscribe, and share. Today, I am sharing the screen with Jessica. I am doing a 3x3 power talk again, which means we have each prepared 3 questions for each other with no clue as to what the questions are. We are going to alternate turns and stay vulnerable in the process in order to inspire those listening. So first of all, I have to apologize because I was literally waiting for Jessica, wondering where she was up to the last minute, not realizing I had not sent her the link. So thank you for being patient with me.
That is totally okay. I'm so glad to be here again. Thanks for inviting me back.
Of course. Thank you. I was hoping, well, first of all, congratulations. We haven't talked since you got married.
Yes, thank you very much.
How is it?
It is not much different than it was before. We were shacking up.
Yes.
I think buying a house together, which we did before we got married, and selling my house that I own by myself was more of a commitment than anything else. So
did you feel that?
Yeah. So this one was easy, I think.
Wow. That was probably a little bit heavy.
You know what? It felt so right that I didn't even question it. I was like,
wow.
Ready to move forward and make those changes. So yeah, it's all felt different than the last time when I was crying outside the hotel the night before the wedding, wondering what was I doing with my life. This time, like, just happy. So.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I want you to share. You always look so fabulous. I watch your videos all the time and you're always so fashionable. I want you to tell everybody what you do before we actually jump into our podcast here.
Oh, thank you. Okay. So I do 3 things. The first and number one thing is I own a boutique called Opal 6 Boutique. You can find me at opal6.com. 6 is spelled out. I'm also on Facebook. I've got a group where I go live and show clothes and other things. So I do that. I also help women who want to create a boutique, do it using drop shippers from the United States, so you don't have to invest a lot of money. And I've also been recently helping to do health coaching. So yeah, that is what I do.
I love that. I absolutely love everything that you do and everything that you stand for. And I'm so thankful that you're taking a little bit of time out of your day today to play this little game. Hopefully we will be diving into some really cool things. Is this how you spell your website, by the way?
Yep, that's me.
Awesome. I love that. Cool. So who wants to go first?
How about you go first?
Okay, I'll go first. What is my first question? Okay, so considering you're married, just recently married, I thought I would kind of stay on that same path. Okay. You have a very awesome perspective because you've done the whole codependency thing, and now you're brand new and improved and finding your power in your world. So my first question to you is, how can partners prevent themselves from being totally codependent in a relationship?
I think that it is important to find balance between the things that you have in common and common friendships, and also the things that you don't have in common, and embrace that for each other. So Adam loves chess. He loves sci-fi movies, which I don't. He is not as social as I am. He enjoys being social at times, but he also likes having some time by himself. So he embraces the times where I just want to go and hang out with my friends, or be in a different room watching trash TV or whatever. And we're really happy to give each other that space. And I know that if I ever say to him, hey, my girlfriend just called and wants to go have dinner, he's not going to care, because he'll just go take care of his own dinner, and he's happy to see me be happy. And if I am invited over to somebody's house with Adam and I know that he is not up for going, I almost never tell him that I want him to go. Like, every once in a while there's an occasion where I'm like, it's so and so's birthday, or it's really important that you're there. But for the most part, if he wants to go, he's invited. And if he doesn't, I'm okay with it. If he wants to stay home and take his weekend to chill. So I think that is really, really important.
I love that. As far as, the differences between your last, I'm sure it wasn't your last relationship, but the relationship where you were having lots of turmoil, yeah, versus the relationship now. How did you deal with any triggers at all as far as a pull for power going into this new one, where things were like triggering you as far as like reminding you of your ex, but not necessarily at all the same?
So possibly the opposite. So, Adam is, I set out to find somebody 100% opposite from my ex. And I felt like I had too many responsibilities weighing on my shoulders. I still have issues with money because just trying to remind myself that I'm not living in lack anymore has been hard. So when we got together, I was just like, I would love to just hand you the bills so that I don't have to worry about them. And he loves bills. He loves retirement funds and investments and budgeting and all that stuff. So instead of having an issue with holding on to power, I felt like I needed to release a lot of those things that I was holding on and give it up to him so that I could say he is not the same person, and I need to not ruin this by dwelling on the things that have happened in the past. And so, yeah, so I give the opposite. I don't want to.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Do you know who Grant Cardone is?
Don't.
Oh, wow. Okay. So he's like he's like a Mongol as far as money and wealth and real estate and all this stuff. And his wife just recently kind of joined his team. He has a huge presence online, and his wife came out with this new, I guess, program or lifestyle, and it's called Create Your Own Empire or something. And she talks about giving power to each person in different departments of your life, because you almost have to run your life like a business. Mm-hmm. And there's different areas, there's different divisions in the relationship, in your life, just like there is in a business. And she talks about giving power to certain people, almost like a manager, like you're the manager of this area. So when you said that, it kind of reminded me of that. Like you're saying like, hey, I'm going to take back my power or like relinquish it to you, even though it was issues in the past with that, you're the manager of this division. Do you have anything else in your relationship that's like that, where like somebody holds? What else? Tell me.
Okay, so we run our relationship like that 100%. So the way that we look at it is one of us will handle something and we will let the other person know when it's done. So for the most part, if it's a stressful situation, we don't complain to the other person about it. We don't ask for opinions or help unless it's really necessary. So when there is an unpleasant situation, even something like right now, redecorating our bedroom, Adam doesn't want any part of it. He wants to come home one day and have a new bed because our bed is not doing well, and he wants everything to look nice, and he doesn't want to have me like, do you like this one and do you like this one? He just wants me to handle it. Yeah. Bug guys or yard guys. Right now we're having an issue with our yard guy. I know that I don't have to deal with it at all. Adam's just going to handle it. Like we both just take on things. Like he will own a task and he just takes care of it. I will own a task and I just take care of it. And yeah, so then the other person doesn't have to have it weigh on them. So it kind of sounds like the same thing. We just take it from each other and we just handle it.
I love that. Is that a conversation that you guys had, or did that just kind of fall in together brilliantly just as you guys as a couple?
No, we had that conversation.
Really?
So when we first
So like when? Tell us when the conversation, and who initiated it?
Adam initiated it, and he is a terrible gift giver. It's not that he's not generous, but he has a horrible time. It gives him major anxiety to even think about it because he doesn't want to get something that somebody doesn't like. He's not a gift person. He's a thoughtful note, like a very sweet note, handwritten card kind of person. So he had asked before we even moved in together that gifts just be one of the things that I handle. He shows up to an event and it's done. Christmas time comes and the presents are under the tree for all of the kids, including his, because he knows that I am really thoughtful about those things and he doesn't want to stress about it. So I took that from him and I said, okay, well, when we move in together, you can take care of all the finances and the bills. Doesn't mean that I don't contribute, but I don't worry about it because he's taken that. And then we talked about, okay, so here's the way that this has to work. He said it has to work in that for the most part, we just handle it and we don't weigh the other person down with, well, what do you think? And I don't know what to do. And like anything that goes wrong, unless it's a major issue. So we decided early on that that was going to be the case. So we laugh and we joke and we just say, I'm going to task you with this. And it just means, can you be the one to take care of it? And we just do. So
I absolutely love that.
It was a discussion that we had early on.
That's so cool. And I guarantee that there are couples now that are maybe even happy that could use that same exact mindset and hadn't really thought about it before.
Because you have to think about it this way, even if I go through this horrendous experience with something, sometimes you do need to talk about it. But if I call you and I'm like, you'll never guess what happened, and I go into this like hour-long story of all this stuff, it starts to stress you out a little bit because you're like, oh my gosh. And so there's just no need. So that is, and then the other person looks at the person that completed the task like they're this awesome, amazing, wonderful person because they just took care of something.
Yes.
So yeah, that has been a really great thing in our relationship.
Absolutely. Do you have anything to add to Jarius? He's asking a question, or she.
What about business versus pleasure if we intertwine life with business? You know what? Adam and I have two different jobs, very different. And he, if it were up to him, he wouldn't really talk about work. And he finds it really cute that I'm always asking him a million questions about his day. His mindset is that he doesn't want to like burden me with the issues of work. But I'm so curious because I love him so much and I want to know everything that he's doing. So, that's my choice, is that I want to know about what he's doing, and his choice is that he doesn't complain about work or business to me because unless I ask him, because he just wants things to be pleasant. So I don't know. We're not business partners, so I'm not sure. Maybe you would know, Sabrina.
Yeah. So I would say I'm very much the same as what you were just talking about. There has to be somebody, even if it's 50-50, there has to be somebody in charge. There just has to be somebody who, and it's not like I own the business and I get to tell everybody what to do, but it's I own the business and being comfortable and okay with delegating managers, or in this case, my fiance, Dane, to do certain things or be the manager over certain things. Very similar to what you're saying. I know that when I tell him, when we sit down and because we have our weekly meetings also, there he is right there. We have our weekly meetings also. And I sit down and I say, okay, we just did this like a few days ago. You know, what are you feeling powerful in right now? What area are you feeling powerful in right now that you can work on to help grow our business? And he listed off like 12 different things that he feels he's comfortable doing and that he's capable of doing. and that will improve the business, grow the business exponentially. So we sat down and we brainstormed like 12 ideas, and now he has his tasks, or he's the manager over those areas. I don't have to ask him. I don't have to prod him on, did you do this? Did you do that? He just has his list, and he's going through his list and marking things off as he does it. And then we would re-meet again, in another week or so, once the tasks are almost done or whatever, and then re-up again. What are you working on? What can you be doing? What do you feel powerful in? Because sometimes in life it changes, like you are doing what you're doing right now as far as work goes. But if something changes, not necessarily you, Jessica, but just, the audience, if you're in charge of the household and taking care of the house, but then all of a sudden you have to go get a job, that means the household chores might be divided differently now. Dinner might be divided differently. Sweeping might be divided differently than the way that it was before. So it's always good to kind of come together and recalibrate to make sure it's still working for everybody.
That makes a lot of sense.
100%. Your turn.
Okay. Have you ever broken up with a friend, like a long-term?
Good question.
They no longer could take up space in your life?
Yes, good question. Yes, I have. Actually, yes, I have, to answer your question. But the reason we're not talking right now is actually because of her. But yeah, I was just hitting the personal development phase. I was probably like 28, 27, 28. I had been friends with her since I was 12. And she's super drama. Everything is a big deal. Boy problems, mom problems, family problems, work problems. And I was always the one that was trying to help, give advice, coach her this way, tell her to do this. And I'd spend hours and hours and hours and hours on the phone with her, trying to console her, trying to listen, there for her, and very rarely there for me. And she was there for me physically, like we would go out to dinner, this and that, but she wasn't there for me emotionally, which is totally different. But one day and this was a continuous thing where I'd spend 2 hours on the phone with her on a Friday. I'd give her advice. She's asking for my advice. I'd give her advice. Saturday, she'd call me up doing the exact opposite of what I advised her to do. And now she has a whole new problem. And this was like a continuous thing that she just kept having issues with all the time. It's just a total waste of my time. I was trying to, at that point, build what is now my company, Human Better 365. At that point, it was called pureaspirations.net. And getting into personal development, and I was huge into health and fitness, and I was creating workout plans for people and diet plans for people, and helping people view life differently. And my best friend was just going off the rails like every other day. So one day something like that similar happened, where she just like didn't do what I had advised her to do, and her life was just going this way. And I literally flipped out on her. On the phone. And I was like, this is not working for me anymore. I'm not interested in this. I'm like, I'm trying to better my life, and I'm reading these books, and I'm learning about finance and health and fitness and mental and emotional strengths. And everything that I'm learning, I'm trying to spoon feed to you, like nicely, not as like a teacher, like you must do this, but as like a good friend. And you're just not interested. And I look like an idiot, because I am embracing these women and trying to help them. Meanwhile, my best friend, who's on my Facebook constantly, if you go to her Facebook, because she was on my Facebook so much, she's a mess. Like all of her freaking posts are just super traumatic and negative and just shaming, just shameful, just sad. And so I told her I didn't want to talk to her anymore. I said, I don't want to talk to you anymore until you get your life back together again. Literally, this is our last phone call. I'm not speaking to you ever again. And she was crying. It was this whole thing. We didn't talk for probably like 2 months. And she called a couple times here and there. Finally, like 2 months later, I picked up the phone. She apologized. She cried. She's like, I came up with a game plan and, I want you to review it and go over it and all this stuff. So we met up and we wound up being friends again for probably another 4 years. And then just the same. She was the same. She didn't change. And a whole thing happened with her wedding where I didn't take 2 of her phone calls. She called me 2 times in a row. And I was with another friend helping her move. And I knew I was going to be spending time with her the next day to help her with her wedding. And like 2 or 3 hours went by. I texted her back and no reply. And then just on Facebook regularly, went to go see what she was doing or something. I was blocked. So she cut me off because I didn't take her phone call for real. And she got married. I was her maid of honor. And what I found out afterwards was she, now looking back, it was a codependent relationship. So empath, high narcissistic qualities. She wasn't like I would feel bad if she was listening to this, calling her that, but just extremely self-absorbed. Everything was about her, pathological liar. She had some good traits. I mean, I was friends with her for a really long time, but extremely energy, stealer, just steals everything you have from you. You get off the phone with her, you're just absolutely exhausted. So yeah. And she's reached out to me 3 times since then over the last 3, 4, 5 years. I don't even know how long it's been now. And I won't even touch it anymore. I just ignore.
Let me ask you this. When that day happened and she blocked you, did you feel a sense of relief?
Yes.
Feel like you now have permission to let this go and you were luckily not the one to cause the problem?
Yep. I actually called my mom. I was like, oh my gosh. I felt bad. I felt bad for her. But yeah, I didn't even dwell on it. Like I saw she blocked me. I think I texted her one time telling her that she was being silly and she didn't respond. And I never called and never texted her ever again. I just texted her once saying like, hey, this is dumb. She didn't respond. That was it. I never reached out again. She's reached out, but yeah, I have no regrets. Like I feel the stuff that I've accomplished in my life, I've accomplished because I have the time. If I would have still been friends with her, my time literally would have been cut in half. And I'm not even exaggerating. I would be halfway in my life, financially and as far as prosperity goes, than where I am now if I had still had her in my life, because that's how much time she took up.
Wow.
Yeah, not even exaggerating. Yeah. So I feel lucky. But I've had a lot of those in my life.
Do you know where she is in life? Like, has she her act together, or is she still?
Yeah, she's when she messaged me, she kind of cues me in. But I don't, like obviously she got married. She didn't tell me about that because that was recent. But then she had a child. She sent me a picture of her child. I think I said congrats. That was it. Then she had another child like 2 years later. And we have similar friends. So we both grew up as a Jehovah's Witness. And so we have interlinking friends that will say stuff everyone, like, are you still friends? Because we were the friendship, like we were the thing, growing up in our circle that we were inseparable. And, so I know what she's doing, but I also know, even though on camera it looks good, I know it's a mess. I just know it's a mess. And I know that when she's reaching out to me, it's because something crazy is happening and she has nobody else to talk to. So she's hoping that like I'll yank on the,
Yeah, don't
on
do it.
on the bait so that she can vomit all over me. But I already know those tricks. I know the tricks now. So they don't work on me anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. That was a good question.
Thank you. I put a lot of thought into the questions because I don't know. I wanted to do something different and things that I was thinking about in my own life that I think that you have such a cool outlook on things, and so just to get your view on them is really kind of cool.
100%. I've had a lot of girlfriends who have high narcissistic traits, though. I have, it's very dysfunctional, but it's because I'm like so compassionate. Like I'm the one that like goes to them and I drop everything for them and I'm listening to them. So people take advantage of that.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
You know,
totally. And it takes your energy, like it sucks your energy so much.
yeah.
Ugh, yeah.
Yeah, I can totally relate and I totally appreciate that what you said with your husband now as far as taking care of a task and then being able to take all the negatives that happen with it and then not necessarily saying, "Hey, I took care of that task," but then giving you the commentary for the week of all of the drama that entailed to take care of the task. Not that you won't mention it, but like it's like such a relief because that's what I dealt with so much. It's like I get constant play-by-plays in my life of like all the stuff that's happening to like get to the point of where we're supposed to go with friendships, with relationships. And it's like, just do the thing, and then everything will work out.
Right. And if you think, and there's lots of like drama and issues surrounding it, to take more time away from life to rehash the entire thing
Thank you.
It's not productive at all.
Exactly. Like it's fun to do, like maybe months later over dinner or something if it gets hush hush, like, hey, by the way, but just like a constant, it's like I just dealt with all of anything that you do in life entails drama.
Yeah.
Like you have to wait on customer service for 3 hours in order to, that's normal. That's what happens. Mm-hmm. You don't have to do a commentary on that to explain all of the things because I also was the manager of my stuff and my stuff also had drama with it. Right. So it's like if we both just do the stuff.
Right.
And then talk about the drama, that extra time could have been used to move forward in your life to do something else.
Yeah, we go so far as to leave the room if we're going to make a phone call regarding it. So the other person doesn't have to listen to the drama of the phone call.
Dude, that's so cool. That's so cool. That's one of the awesome things about, not to say that, people should get divorced or what have you, but you learn so much.
Oh my gosh, the second time around is so different. Like everything that I've learned.
As long as you are learning from it and then applying what you learned, there's lots of people that continue to do the same thing over and over. But if you, do like what you're saying, where you're like, I was going for the exact opposite.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And even with my son, like I have no agenda. I don't talk about girls with him. I don't do anything because like you have your whole freaking life. There shouldn't be pressure to like do relationships so young, like mess up like lots of times. And then, in your 30s, when you've already gone through a bunch of stuff, you're just a better person usually.
Yeah, we hope we have 4 kids between us, and we hope that they all wait that until they're in their 30s to get married.
100%. Is your husband, was he married before?
Yes, he
He
was
was.
married, 2 kids. Yeah, for a very long time.
Wow. Where did you find him, by the way? I don't remember. I'm sorry.
Online, one of the dating apps.
Same.
Yeah,
You were on a dating app.
I was. How about you?
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
The one of the worst ones. Which dating app? Do you want to say?
Okay, Cupid.
Yeah, so that's just yeah, we were Plenty of Fish.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't go on that one. But I didn't have time to like date the normal. I guess dating apps are the normal way now, but I could really vet the people that I was talking to.
Totally.
I mean, as best as you can, people lie, obviously, but I was just like, yeah, I was looking for a certain kind of person. I was not going to talk to anybody, no matter how cute they are or how nice they are, if they did not meet certain criteria. I was just
100%. I did it the same exact way, girl, for real. I'm so glad that you're saying that because, I'm in the narcissistic rooms a lot for Facebook. And so many women are like, men suck, dating apps suck. All the narcissists are on dating apps. I'm like, girl, I freaking found a great man.
I know. All the guys that I dated for the most part, and I didn't date a lot, but they were also nice.
Yes.
I mean, like nobody can find anybody on a dating app. Like there's all kinds of men, and I made sure that I did it for older than me because a lot of times they're a little more mature. And a lot of them were out of bad relationships, like divorced and ready to settle down with somebody. So I don't know. I found a lot of good ones, but I was so picky about things. But also we talked about it before. You and I were happy alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that we weren't, trying to go find a man unless they enhanced our lives. Totally.
Yeah.
So
100%. 100%. I totally love that you're saying that though, because they are out there. You just have to set boundaries and be picky and don't send nudes, don't accept nudes, block as soon as any funny business happens, and you'll find the good ones. And I had the same thing, same exact as you. Anytime anybody asks, I'm like, I had a great experience on the dating app. I had so much fun.
Same.
Yeah, I had so much fun. There was absolutely nothing weird or frightening or anything that happened. There was one guy that lied about his weight really badly, but it was like funny. It wasn't like I wasn't like offended. I still sat with him and had a little drink or whatever we had, coffee. I don't even remember where. I think we went to a smoothie bar, but that was the only like something was unfortunate, that would have been the only one, but he was still very nice. All right, next question. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. In our world, or if our world were ruled by women, how would it be different?
Oh my gosh. Such a question. I mean, I think that it would be emotion based a little bit. It would, I can't imagine that we would have as many wars as we currently do. I think that things would be discussed a lot more. And I think that maybe things would be a little bit more compassionate in the world, because women just by nature are more feelings based, and they want to help and they want to fix certain things. And so I think not to say that we aren't great business women, because we are, but a lot of, like, I know my business is fueled on emotion and community and love. And so yeah, I mean, I think that the whole tone of the world would be different.
Absolutely. Do you think it would be, in your opinion, this is just an opinion, in your opinion, do you think we would be better off or worse off?
In my opinion, I think the best bet would be to have a male and a female, and possibly, I don't know, just all a group of different people running things. I mean, it would be difficult to get them to agree on things, but I think that having both the business side, the emotional side, I think that that would be helpful.
I agree with you 100%. I feel like, I don't know, I don't feel like I operate like a normal female does.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, my fiance is laughing at me. He just he just walked into the room. I guess he's agreeing with that statement. So I don't necessarily, I'm not asking this question like stereotypical for
Yeah.
all females, because I don't necessarily run like this. However, since we're females in general are based more on emotions and feelings and people pleasing, do you think that it would halt things, like slow things down, because we want to make sure everybody's good before making a decision, versus just like jumping in and just doing, just, like minus all of the emotions? Because a lot of times that gets in the way of trying to like make sure everyone's good.
Yeah, I think so too. Even what you were saying about your friend who would call you and you wanted to make sure they were good. I just picture like Adam and his best friend calling him one time, of calling him and being like, "Oh, you'll never guess what happened, blah blah blah." Adam would be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, dude. Like, let's fix this." And then another phone call, like if that happened the next day, he'd be like, "Bro, seriously, like let's get yourself together. Why are you calling me? Like, deal with it. Like, here's how you deal with it. Don't call me again." And I think that like we would drag things out. Want to make sure that they are okay
Yeah.
before. So I guess it is kind of stereotypical. I hate saying things like that. But
Have you changed in that aspect, as far as like over the last 15 years being more the consoling to who you are now, or are you still that same? Because I've changed.
I am working on it. So I have a mindset coach that I have been working with, because I feel nervous is the word, nervous to make somebody upset. And so instead of sticking with my convictions and living my life like a good person, but putting my foot down, I feel nervous that I'm going to upset somebody and it's sucking my energy. And sometimes it's such a weird thing, but I feel like it just sits right here. And I'm working to remove it and stop being that person. Like, because I have a family and I've got other responsibilities and I need to make sure that I'm taking on my responsibilities here, and I need this free so that
Yeah.
I can do the things, get the things done that I need to get done. And sometimes that blocks things. Like you said, your friend calling you all the time. If she was still doing that, you'd be completely blocked from all the things that you want to do. And I don't want to have to feel nervous that I'm going to upset somebody for doing the things that I need to do in my life.
Yeah.
So, yes, to answer your question, I am a lot of times that person that somebody calls and they want to spew their stuff with. And I'm working on fixing that, because that's the other thing. Adam is not a drama kind of person. He likes happy, he likes things to run smoothly. He doesn't like problems, and it's not fair to invite those into our space when it's not just me anymore also.
Totally. Yeah. 100%. I 100% agree with you.
How do you feel like you've changed in cutting that off?
I've changed so much. Yeah. It's hard because I went through a really interesting time period where I actually thought that I might be the narcissist in my relationship, or in my life. For those of you that are unfamiliar, I dealt with a 13-year narcissistic relationship. extremely abusive mentally, emotionally, financially, and sexually. But I became like a bitch. Like afterwards, but like a nice one, I'm not like rude, but with boundaries, because I had never had boundaries before. So I didn't know how to set boundaries nicely. So my boundary setting was just like, no, not doing that, not interested, like super matter of fact with no warmth to it. So it's taken me a long time to get to the point now where I can speak feelings and emotions and communicate openly, because I was so used to not being heard. Whenever I had feelings or had emotions, it was my whole life, actually. It was, oh my God, here she goes again crying. Oh my God, here she goes again talking about her feelings. So by nature, I'm a very emotional person. I cry super easily. And because I feel words, I feel facial expressions. Like I can actually, like, it hits my soul really hard. And, but I was told that was annoying and weak and frustrating. So when I was setting my boundaries, I was setting them without communicating, without talking about my emotions, without talking about my feelings, just saying a definitive yes or no. And that comes across harsh. That comes across rude. Yeah. And so it took me a while to realize, like, hey, with my boundary setting, I can also kindly explain my thought process on this, and they're actually going to listen to me, because normal, healthy, emotional, mental, healthy individuals listen. And I was so isolated, in different arenas during my life, in circles of people that didn't listen to feelings. So now, that I've opened myself up to, this arena and meditation and yoga and Reiki, and I have a beautiful fiance who's so patient with me, and I'm inviting new friends, like yourself, who are like-minded and who listen and who want to help and inspire and give back. It's refreshing, but it's different.
Yeah, totally. It's funny that you said that you used to give those just no and no explanation, and it seemed cold, and that makes me so nervous. So I'm the exact opposite. I have to fight with myself to set the boundary, and then it's like too much explanation and little heart emojis, and sometimes I just voice it, like I send a voice text and like a word text, so that they could hear my regret and whatever. And I'm starting to try to work on the fact that I don't owe anybody like a huge explanation for things. If the answer is no, I have a good reason, and that should be it. And if you respect me, then and love me, then that should be enough. And that word nervous comes in again, because it's like, if I don't do all of those things, I get automatically nervous that I'm upsetting somebody. Yep. I'm working on it.
I love that. But the first step is acknowledging and being self-aware that it's a problem, so you can work on it. Yeah. There's so many people that are exactly like you and I who never realize it. And they're just stuck in that cycle for their whole lives. Yeah. Of being nervous and people pleasing and not realizing that there's a reason why you are the way you are, first of all, and that there's a different way of doing it.
Yeah.
Totally. So, yeah.
Okay. Are you ready for the next question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What has been the most meaningful gift anybody has ever given you?
Oh my gosh. Okay. The most meaningful. Oh my gosh. I'm probably going to start crying. Can I go get it?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I'll go get it for you.
Oh my gosh. I love that painting behind you. That is so beautiful.
It's a blanket.
Oh, wow. That is.
I don't always have okay. So you're gonna totally laugh. So this is the most meaningful gift.
Oh my God.
I'm not even kidding. Okay. So there's a story though. So here's the story. When my fiance and I met, I had told him this story about, oh my gosh, I'm going to get teary eyed. So when I got pregnant, I was 20 years old. I had my son when I was 21. And I lived in this little tiny 1-bedroom apartment with a bed. So I had no dresser. I had no tables, chairs, couches, TVs, nothing. I had a bed and I had clothes, and my son had a playpen. So it's this whole long story, but his father left. It was this whole religious thing on my end and whatever. So I was coming home from work one day with my son in my Honda. I had a Honda Accord, super old, like a 1992 or something Honda Accord. And I was driving down the street, and there was this this huge 5-drawer dresser on the side of the road. And I stopped my vehicle and I got out, and it was like really good old condition, like used, but like sturdy, old, all wood. And I'm like, checking it out and looking at my car and checking it out. And there's no way, right? There's no way this thing is going to fit in my vehicle. But I didn't want to give up on it because I'm like, I can somehow, let me just think about it. So I get back in my car. It's like 6 o'clock. So there's people coming and going and all this stuff. And I'm like, how can I ensure that nobody takes this dresser? So I can like think in my head, I'm a problem solver, on how to get this dresser into my apartment because all of my clothes are lined up on the floor. So I get back out of my car and I take 2 drawers out of the dresser and I put them in my vehicle because no one's going to take a dresser with missing drawers. Okay. So I take 2 drawers, put them in my car, trunk, back seat, and I go back home. And I lived probably 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes from this house in a little apartment. So go home, take my son upstairs, take my 2 drawers upstairs, make lunch, dinner, and whatever, finish out the night. It's 10 o'clock. It's dark. I'm like, okay, let me just I got to re-see it. I got to visualize this whole thing. Put my son back in the vehicle, go back. I take the other 3 drawers. It's still there. I take the other 3 drawers, put him in my vehicle, drive home, take my son out of the car, bring him up to my apartment, come back down, take 2 drawers, bring him up to my apartment, come back down, take the 1 drawer, go up to my apartment, put it down, take my son back downstairs, put him in the car. This time I put him in my front seat. No judgment. No judgment. Drive back down the road, okay? The Honda Accords are real small. So I turn around, I'm actually visualizing this. I had to do a U-turn. And I'm in front of this dresser, no one on the road. The neighborhood's totally quiet. And I'm like, how the frick? I have to have this dresser. This is everything to me. So I get back out. I'm tipping it. It's so heavy. It's real wood, old school. It's so heavy. There's no way I can put it on the top of my car. I'm trying to figure out if I can have it hanging out of my trunk, way too small. It's a super small car. So I'm like, okay, well, let me see if I push the seats forward, if I can tip it into the back seat and just have it slide it into the back seat. So dude, so heavy. I half drop it. It scratches my car. It's this whole thing. I hurt my foot while doing it. I shove it in. I can't close the door, obviously. It was so tall, that only half of it went into the vehicle and the other half was hanging out of the vehicle. So it was top heavy. It would have just literally just toppled out of the car while I was driving. So I'm well, I have to, I guess, open the other car door. So I'm freaking Batman now with both of my car doors open like this. I shove it all the way through. And you know how like doors have like 2 hinges? So like when you open it, you can just open it on the first hinge or open it all the way. Well, the dresser was so long that it wouldn't fit the first hinge. So they were literally all the way freaking open with this dresser in my back seat, my son in the front seat. I'm driving like this back to my house, right? The doors are open all the way wide. And while I'm driving, I all of a sudden hear this boom. And I'm like, oh my God. I thought like I hit like a car or something. So I stop my car. I get out. I'm like, what the frick? The car doors, I was driving on the right side of the road, like as a good driver, not realizing that the doors were open so wide that it hit the freaking stop sign on the freaking road. Yeah. So then I have this big line, on the like 1 inch into my car, this huge line. So I back up. I'm now driving down the center of the road, like Batmobile, and pull into my little tiny, like took me forever because the little road that leads to our parking lot into the apartment complex was like a 1-lane road. So this is not a test. This is your emergency. So I pull into my parking lot and all the way to the front so that I didn't have to walk, like I'm parked in like the emergency don't park here area. Take my son upstairs. I come back down and I'm like, there's like, I don't even know how I have to like walk down this catwalk, 2 flights of stairs, and then down a catwalk to get into my apartment. It was an outside apartment. So I'm like, whatever, let's one thing at a time. So I pull it out, tip it up. I take my car, I park my car. And I'm just standing in front of this stupid dresser. And I'm like, oh, this is too much. There's no way I can't do this. Is dumb. So then I start to look what's closer, the dumpster or my apartment, because I was just there's like no way this is going to work. I'm like trying to tip it. I'm trying to put it on my back. I'm trying to like hop it like a little by a little. It's so heavy and I have to do this whole thing. So I take a second and I'm like, how do you eat an elephant? 1 fucking bite at a time. So I go to the right side of the dresser. I pick it up literally like 1 inch and I turn it to the side. Then I go to the other side of the dresser. I pick it up and I turn it to its side. I pick up this side of the dresser. I turn it and I just go like this the whole freaking way down this long ass catwalk. Get it to the stairs. I don't even know how I'm going to do this. So there's no drawers in the dresser. There's holes. So I take my arms and I put them inside the hole of the dresser and I push it against the bottom stair and I lift up and it falls like to the second step. And my arms, just with that one step, were like throbbing. Like, what are you doing, Sabrina? This is absolutely insane. There's no way you're going to be able to go up like, whatever it was, 22 stairs. But I'm like, I have this is like, I'm already this far and I need a dresser and I have no money. I'm living paycheck to paycheck. I have eviction notices on my apartment every other month. My car's been repoed once at this point. This is absolute insanity. I have no money. I want this dresser. This dresser means so much to me as far as like making it. Like it sounds so silly, but like making it. So I take it, I put my hands in again, push it, pull it, push it, pull it, all the way up 1 freaking stair at a time. Oh, it took me literally an hour. I'm not even kidding to go up the stairs because I had to take breaths. I was like, I can't do this. I wanted to like push it back down and just be like, I don't know what happened. Wow, there was a dresser on the ground. What? Who would have done that? In the morning. So long story short, over and over and over and over and over and over again, I got this dresser to the top and finagled it same way down into my apartment, cleaned it out, cleaned the drawers out, and my freaking dresser. I was so freaking proud of that dresser. At that point, I had nobody assisting me. I had no child support. My parents, because of religion, not because they're awful parents, but because of religion, had disowned me. And I had nothing. I felt so hopeless at this point in my life. And this dresser literally was like proof that I could do it, and proof that I could make it, and proof that I was strong, and proof that I was powerful. So when I told that story to my fiance, like, 15 years later or whatever, one day I came home and this was sitting on my nightstand. And it says, "You win." He wrote "You win" on it. And he wrote, "Sabrina, my love, don't ever forget where you came from and how far you've worked to get here. You are a true hero and can do anything you put your mind to. I love you so much."
Oh my gosh, that made me tear up. That had been proof that you're with the right person.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It was just so simple, and it showed that he was listening. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to stereotype, like, guys, they listen, but they're not like listening. They hear your stories and they're like, wow, yeah, you've been through a lot, but you are where you are now. So good job. And this to me just proved that he was so listening to me when I spoke, and it hit him, in his heart area, and it really proved something. And then I lost one of the watermelons, but watermelon is my favorite fruit. So he put a watermelon in every drawer, one for me, one for him, and one for Eli. So there's like a little, he's like, when I was walking out, I saw the little watermelons. He's like, I didn't know what to do with them, but they were just so cute. So I lost one of them, but this still stays. I have it right by my makeup stand, and I look at it every single day when I'm doing my makeup, and it just makes me so happy.
Oh, that's like the best story ever.
So yeah, I would say that is the best gift I've ever gotten. The best gift I've ever gotten. Just meant everything,
Okay. Are you ready to ask me?
Yes.
Is this our last question, Eve?
This is, my last question for you.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, this is so interesting. Mine's very similar to yours, sort of. So what act of kindness was done for you that you will never forget? Is that the same question? That's not the same, right?
Oh, it's not.
This gift. Okay, what act of kindness was done for you that you will never forget?
Okay, so I have a lot of strong women around me. My Aunt Jill is one of the most influential people in my life. She is like a second mother to me. She came from similar backgrounds, and she has made the most amazing career for herself. She's a businesswoman. She negotiates the rights to music and TV shows and film, and she's got a whole awesome business surrounding it. She employs so many people. She is everything that I want to be. And when the day that I had asked my ex to leave, I called her crying, and I was like, he's gone. Like, I told him to leave. I don't know what I'm going to do. All the money is gone. We have no money. I don't know how I'm going to pay my mortgage. Christmas is in a couple of weeks. And I had talked to her. For those of you who don't know, I've got my own boutique now, but I started my boutique doing LuLaRoe, which is like an MLM kind of thing. And now I don't do that anymore. But I had told her, because I was so desperate when I didn't understand why we weren't having any money, and I was seeing other people selling these clothes, and I called her, and she's so into fashion, and I thought she was gonna laugh at me because, like, I don't know if you guys know what LuLaRoe is, but the clothes were different. Like leggings with crazy dogs eating ice cream cones, like just off the wall stuff. And she told me that she thought it was a good idea like a long time ago. And so I had when I called her, and I was just like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. And I never ever want to ask her for anything. It was more of just calling her because I was crying, and I was just like, I can't believe he did this. She said, how much does it cost to do LuLaRoe? And I told her how much it was, and she says, well, like you have I'm going to help you, and you're going to start this, and you're never going to need to ask for anything from anybody ever again if you do it the right way. So you can either like take that money, go pay your bills, buy Christmas presents, but you're still going to be in the same boat next month, or you can take that money and do something with it, and change your life and be an independent woman who doesn't need a man, who doesn't need anything, and you could take care of things all by yourself. And that was the best act of kindness that
Wow.
anybody's ever done. It completely changed my life. She forced me to man up and and do something to change, and I am definitely where I am today because of that act of kindness. She gave me the self-esteem by allowing me to take care of my own family. I feel like my self-esteem changed, in which it helped in turn help me pick a better partner for myself and be a better parent. And yeah, so I'm going to say that was the number one act of kindness that anybody has ever done, to believe in me, to give me that opportunity. And yeah, so that is it.
Absolutely. Is that the last question?
No, I have one more
You have
question.
one more for me. I was going to say, wow, what a cool way to end. Oh my gosh, this is so much pressure.
Okay, so let me see if I can ask this question right. Let me see
Okay.
in the right way. Okay, so when I was living my old life with my old partner, and couldn't afford groceries, and felt like I didn't have even support doing things around the house, um, I would daydream about what life would be like in a different life. Like if I had a different partner, if I was not struggling to buy groceries, I would maybe just take myself out of my life that I was miserable in, the job that I was miserable in, and just and daydream about that. Um, when you were with your ex, when you were in your other religion, when you were a single mom pushing a dresser up the stairs, what daydreams did you have that have come to fruition, and now you're just like, I can't believe that this is my life now. If my old self would have known that this is what's going on in life, like I just can't believe that these daydreams have now come to reality. What are those for you? Did
I
that
love that you're asking these questions. This has been such a great episode. So, listen to this. I was just daydreaming about a month ago, and I've been like doodling about creating a bracelet, because I know Pandora does something like this, but creating a bracelet that has dangles on it that you can inscribe on. For me, not to like invent, I'm not trying to like start a company doing this, but that you can inscribe on. And although maybe it is a good company if somebody wants to do that, but you can inscribe the date and the goal on the other side. The reason why is because there has been so many things that I have put my mind to, and then it freaking happened. Like I'm running in the correct direction, and then boom, it happens. Running in the correct direction, boom, it happens. And I would love to wear something that reminds me of what the goal was and the date in which it happened, in order to remind myself, because sometimes we forget. It's so easy as females to kind of look at our story. That's one of the things that I bump into a lot on Her Version. I think you even did this to me also, where you're kind of like, yeah, my story it's a story, but it's not like that big of a deal, even though it's a big freaking deal. Like, we kind of like downplay the badass shit that we've done in our life, because it's not like we were living on the ground in Ethiopia.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not really that big of a deal, because there's other people that have endured other things that were far worse than what we've endured. So we don't feel as if our story is worthy of inspiring somebody. And that's so not true. Like, there are individuals who are where we were right now.
Yeah.
And all they want to do is just get to where we are right now, where we still have other goals. I'm sure you do, of what you're creating and you're building and working towards. And so anyways, I've been like, I've actually been contacting a few people on Etsy to see if I can get somebody to do that for me, and then continue to make the charms, so I can continue to add to it as I'm going along. But to answer the question, a couple of them, my first one that comes to mind has to do with money. So my ex, the abusive ex, always used to tell me that as soon as I left, within 2 months, he'd always say this, within 2 months, I'll find you behind a dumpster living in a cardboard box. In essence, saying I'm incapable of making it on my own. I have to have him in order to survive financially. And the other thing he used to tell me, which was so weird, is he used to say, if you go out into this world and you get a job, you'll never make any more than $31,000. It was like such an odd number. It wasn't like 30,000 or 35,000. It was $31,000. So odd.
Yeah.
But anyways, the second time he told me this, I'm gonna freaking save $31,000. So the first year that I was out, that I left him, I actually set out for a full year. I'm like, in one whole year, I'm not just going to make 31,000. I'm going to save $31,000. And I did it literally in less than 6 months. I still have the piece of paper that I was like so pissed one day. I wrote it down in a journal. I actually found it like in a notebook. I have notebooks galore, like constantly. I'm constantly writing ideas and thoughts and building businesses and stuff. So anyways, one day I'm going through, because I like to tear them out and refresh and make sure I'm like staying on track for the things that I want to be doing. Because sometimes I had really good business ideas, but then I didn't implement them because I'm doing so much. And then I go back through. I found the freaking thing written down of like how much and the date that I was going to hit it by, the date that I started. And I went back to my bank statements because I had forgotten about it. And I literally hit it in less than 6 months. It was so crazy. So that was super exciting. So that would be like a charm, like the date that I hit it and then how much, because it would mean something to me, you know? Another one that I did was, I told myself, so I'm obsessed. You're going to laugh. I don't know what kind of cars you drive or if you're a car girl, but I'm like not that into cars, but I'm like obsessed with, you're going to laugh, a Honda Pilot.
Wait, hold on. Wait. Okay. You tell me what you're going to say, and then I'm going to tell you my thing.
Okay. Honda Pilot 2015. What's your thing? Why are you saying this?
Because my dad, who passed away 10 years ago as of the other day, him and I were at the Honda dealership. We're a Honda family. And I was looking at a Honda Pilot and I was like, oh, one of these days. And he goes, one of these days you can have a Honda Pilot. And I bought myself a Honda Pilot I leased a 2015 Honda Pilot, and then I turned it in, and then I bought one brand new. And yeah, so when I was on my own, I went and I got myself a Honda Pilot by myself, make the by myself. But I'm not a car person, but for whatever reason, I just wanted a Honda Pilot. So that's
Girl, for real. This was my car. Like, I freaking wanted the boxy Honda Pilot. Like, I used to drool over these freaking Honda Pilots because they're good on gas.
Yeah.
The tires aren't super huge. They have super roomy third seat if you get the third seat.
Yeah.
And it's a freaking Honda. So anyways, I put it in my mind I was going to get a Honda Pilot white between 2010 2015. And I literally took a year trying to find this car. While I'm trying to find the car, I'm also saving money. I'm like doing like 5 different businesses at the same time. I'm selling on eBay. I'm selling on OfferUp, selling on Etsy. I've got Fiverr.com going where I'm making videos. I'm building a coaching business. And I'm just pulling in cash, like anywhere possible, like a squirrel, basically. I joke that like I'm a squirrel trying to find nuts, but like the nuts are money. I just like anywhere there's money. I was trying to get money all the time. So while I'm doing this, I'm looking for a Honda Pilot. And I find one literally like 3 hours north of me, Orlando, Florida, white, fully loaded, third seat for like a decent price. A year. It took me a year. I go with my fiance and one of his friends who's really big in the car business. We drive up to Orlando, Florida, like 3 or 4 hours north. This whole thing, the car deal, I cry, they're trying to like do this and do that. It's this whole thing. I tried to pay cash. Because I didn't want the interest. That was like one of my goals. I want to pay cash for my vehicle. I had $22,000 like set aside for this vehicle. They're trying to charge me $23,000. I'm all upset. It's this whole thing. And finally negotiating, this guy came from like the back room, all this stuff. His name, the dude's name that like I, at the very end, had to negotiate for my number, which ended up being 21.5. His name was my ex-abusive's name. So like the guy who like I was in that relationship with for 13 years, this guy's name was the same freaking name. So I was like, dude, I said his name, which like literally gave me a heart attack. You know how you have people like that where you like don't even like saying their name? Said this guy's name and I was like, blah, blah. Come on. 21.5. Let's do this. Come on. Literally, that's what I said. Looked him dead in his eye like a freaking boss babe. And he's like, okay. Let me just see. So he goes back, does the whole thing. It was literally hours. Came back, fine, 21.5. I freaking got the car, 21.5. They made me go through financing because they were going to charge. That was the whole thing. They were going to charge me more for paying cash because if they don't make the money on the interest, then you have to like pay extra or some bullcrap. So I still had to go through financing, which was actually so awesome for me because I got to see the actual number that I would have paid, which was going to be close to $32,000. They were going to charge me 10 grand in interest.
Jeez.
It was insane. So even with 700 credit at that time. So I went through the whole finance crap. And literally a month later, I got my bill. You get a little pamphlet. And I paid the whole thing. 21.5, 0 interest, and dumped it in the mail. And, or no, it wasn't that. It was an online thing. But I got the pamphlet. They give you the booklet, But I did it online. 21.5, called to make sure. And freaking paid my car cash.
Wow.
Cash, dude, cash. So those are like 2 big ones. I mean, there's several of them. There's, I want to create, like I have like 12 of them. I have a whole thing that I've written down, 12 things where I wanted it, dreamt it, and then freaking just did it. I always put a date on it as to like when I want it by and try to get it before that date. It doesn't always happen, but the cool thing about writing the date is it gives you a deadline to aim for. So like nothing happens if you don't hit the date, but it's good to aim for the date. I don't like hold myself to, the structure of that. If I would have done that, I probably would have killed myself because I gave myself a year to get out of my relationship and it took me 4 years to get out. So, just, just as long as you're working towards what you're trying to do, that's the key. But yeah.
Pilot?
Huh?
You still drive the Honda Pilot?
Heck yeah, girl. Heck yeah. So my fiance and I actually just last week, you might laugh at this, but just last week, the paint, it's a 2015 and we live in Florida. So the paint, it's white and it's like losing the shine. Like the sun just eats it up. So I called a rhino liner place. Have you heard of rhino lining? Mm-hmm. So here in Florida, it's kind of big, where people like line the outside of their car with this rough like paint. It kind of looks like it's sand on the paint. I'm sure you've seen it at least once. But anyways,
matte paint?
It's matte, yeah, but it like has a texture to it that kind of looks like a dinosaur. It sounds stupid. I'll send you a picture. You can't really, unless you know what it is. But anyways, I just got off the phone last week with this dude that I had been corresponding with for a couple of months. And I'm going to be rhino lining it dark green, like an olive dark green. And then outlining it, having the accent colors, same texture with black, and redoing the roof rack. Because the freaking car is amazing. Mm-hmm. It's absolutely amazing. It's great gas mileage. It's so great when my fiance's kids come down because we all fit in the car, plus their friends. It's great.
Yeah. I had the boxy one and now I've got the new one. The boxy, I like the boxy body style better, but it worked out really well for us because we have a family of 6. So we've got the third row seats and we do a lot of outdoor stuff. We ski and camp and stuff. And so we drive in the winter. We go like every couple of weekends, we drive 3 hours to go ski, and we have to pile all the kids, everybody skis in and all that stuff. So we love it. But
that's awesome.
We have a white one. It's just funny that we both had that goal, that dream of a Honda Pilot, because that is not the definition of most people's dream cars.
I know, it's so crazy. It's so funny too, because when my fiance and I first started dating, I was living in a smaller house, and the neighborhood that we used to live in, there was a Honda Pilot like 4 doors down from us. And we used to go for walks, which we still do go for walks, but we were going for walks like every single day. And there was a Honda Pilot like a few doors down from us. And I always used to say to him, that's going to be my car one day. That's going to be my car one day. And I literally have the same car. Like I got the same car. So crazy.
That is hilarious.
He used to joke with me. He's like, just go knock on the door and ask them if they'll sell it to you. They probably will. I'm like, I'm going to find my own Honda Pilot. And I freaking did. It's crazy.
That's so funny. I think that I'm always going to have Hondas. I'm just like in our neighborhood, everybody's got some fancy car. I always joke that like my car doesn't belong here, but that's what I like. And we're not car people. And so we would rather spend money in other areas than drive a fancy car that's going to appreciates a lot. Like a house where it usually goes up in value while you live there, and then it's a good investment and you can sell it and make money. It's like after a while, like you just have to start dumping a ton of money in, the value goes all the way down, and eventually you need a new one. So we're just like, it makes some people happy, and that's what's important, but it's just not anything that we really care about. So
exactly. I'm the same way. I'm not really, I dump my money into other things. Exactly. Things that appreciate.
Right.
Things that are going to pay me back. But yeah, the vehicle's great. It's big enough. It gets us from point A to point C. It doesn't attract any attention. It's super chill mom vehicle,
Yeah.
but with this new little jazz I'm doing, it's going to look kind of rough and rugged and cool.
Yeah.
So I'll have to send you a picture. What'd you say?
Yeah. I said I can't wait to see what it's like when it's done.
Yeah, I just took the before pictures a couple days ago, so I wouldn't forget. Sometimes I start working on projects and I'm like, crap, I forgot to take a before picture.
The other day, we have a little 1-car garage, and I was using we have a game room, and I was using it for my boutique stuff, and it was a giant disaster always, because I'd have all this product come in, and it would be everywhere. So I decided that I'm going to make this 1-car garage into a really cute boutique space where now people can come over and they can shop and try things on, and I can use it as my office and my go live space. And I redid the whole thing, and I was like, I never took a before picture. Garage, dingy, dirty garage.
Wow.
Picture.
That's exactly what I do all the time. Wait, so how does that work? Because isn't your store also in a garage? Do you walk it, or are they by the side by side?
Okay, so I was using that. We have a regular garage, and then on the side we have a separate garage, and I was using that as storage space, but I didn't have a proper place where anybody could come try anything on. And then I was using this room that when you walk in, it's this big giant room. It has a pool table, and I was using that room as my workspace, and I was just constantly, it was a mess always. I'm really not an organized person. I'm very not structured and all over the place. So it just was not it needed to get out of the house. So that's when I took everything out of that garage and turned it into a really pretty space.
Nice.
And rugs and wall hangings and all that stuff. So now that is my space.
Wow, that's so exciting.
Yeah, that was my project for last week. It's almost done. I got an air conditioning unit in there because it's hot. We live in Las Vegas, so it's Florida hot here.
Super hot.
Yeah, so it's almost done. It's almost done.
Aww.
But yeah, it's that has been my project that
The clothes that you're wearing, are those all clothes from your store?
The hat is from my store. The this little off the shoulder.
It's so cute. Is that a shirt or is that a dress?
So it's and then the jean shorts, I don't have any more of these, but here I'll show you. So it's just a shirt like that, and it I just did a little tuck, but right now I have it in gray available, and it goes all the way up to 3XL. So I try to make sure that everything that I have is size inclusive for all sizes. So small, this one's a small through 3XL.
That's so awesome. I love that. You have it in green, and what color?
The green sold out, but I have it in a charcoal gray right now.
How much?
$32.
Nice. I love the hat. So cute. It looks really good on you too.
Thank you. The hat's only $15.
I've been telling Dane. Dane wears really cute hats, handsome hats, however you say that. I don't really wear hats because my hair is just so. But the other day, not the other day, a month ago, he bought it's a Jewish hat, a straight brim, you see the Mormons wearing them and stuff. But he's like, I love that hat. I'm like, really? But he bought it in dark green with a black thing, and it looks so good on him. And then I tried it on. I'm like, let me try this thing on. And it actually looks super cute with my curly hair.
You would look so cute in hats.
Yeah, so I'm open to it now. But
I have one hats that are really cute, and they're baseball caps, which I've never been a hat person at all, but they have a thing right here where you can put a high ponytail. So if you have really big hair, you can stick your ponytail through it, and it looks really cute actually.
Oh, I love that. I think I saw somebody at the airport wearing one of those. And I thought that it was so cute. I'd never seen one before.
Yeah, they're CC ponytail hats, but those are pretty popular.
You sell those at your store?
I do, yeah.
Oh.
I actually, the ones that I have.
You just muted. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. I have ones right now where somebody took old Louis Vuitton purses, like really vintage ones, and cut them up. And so it's the high ponytail hat, and then they sewed on a patch from an old vintage Louis bag, and so I was selling those.
So cool.
Really cute.
Wow, that's inventive. I didn't even know you can do that. Can you do that? Just like take
Um, I took them off my website because what they were saying is before that if you owned an authentic designer purse, you could do whatever you want with it, and they
yeah.
can't tell you that it's not like it's copywritten where you're like using some fake purse or whatever. Like you own it, so I think that you can do whatever you want with it. But
Yeah.
I wasn't sure,
Yeah.
get off my website, and I was just selling them in my shop because I love supporting artists and other small businesses. And what she did is so cool, I thought. So yeah, so I don't think that they're on my website anymore. They shouldn't be, but I do have them here in my shop.
Wow, that's so cool. That actually sounds really neat.
Yeah, I'll send you a picture of it and then the back of it so that you can see. But it's perfect if you have big hair because it doesn't have to fit under the hat.
Yeah, that's the issue. Is that, and then it doesn't like stay on because the hair just kind of like raises it up. So it like looks like it's cool, but it literally just feels the whole time like it's just gonna fall off.
Yeah.
It's just like sitting on my hair, not on my head. So mentally it's kind of annoying because, but anyways, that's a story for another day. Thank you so much for joining. This was so fun.
Thank you for having me. I love doing these things with you.
Thank you for that. And also a shout out because the last minute I had a cancellation for those of you that are still watching or watching on replay. I had a cancellation. I last minute asked Jessica if she would come on, and she was like, hell yeah, girl. So thank you so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. Do you have any closing thoughts before I close up here?
I'm your last minute go-to girl. The kids are all in school during the day, so always ask me because I'm usually down for that.
Perfect. I love that. Thank you so much. I love it when I can count on people. I appreciate that. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us here on Her Version. If you have an amazing story to share of Struggle to Triumph, be sure to reach out to me here or at herversion.life. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria, and I am so grateful to be here sharing a platform that allows people to share their truth and their words and their story in order to get a different perspective on life. Much love from myself and Jessica. We'll see you soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye.